minimum wage be increased or should it be left where it is today? By Samantha Chaput. My speech will inform you that I'm for the increase in minimum wage and the benefits of that increase would help us accomplish for the betterment of our lives and the economy. The minimum wage should be increased so that workers can support and survive in society with the rising cost of today. Raising the minimum cost will benefit about 2 million workers across the country, and it will help businesses too. Raising the wage will put more money in people's pocket, which they will pump back into the economy by spending it on goods and services in their communities. By President Obama. I believe the reason for this statement is that it would help workers survive by decreasing poverty and improving the economy. In this speech, I will cover how the increasing minimum wage can decrease poverty, help workers support their children and families, and finally, how it would impact the economy for the better. Firstly, because the cost of living has increased, it is almost impossible to raise a family on a minimum wage. Even a person living on their own cannot survive on minimum wage because living is expensive would be too overwhelming for that person because the salary of a minimum wage worker is detrimental to the family's welfare. Secondly, the rise in minimum wage will help workers support their children with affordable health care, housing, and childcare services. With the rise in healthcare premiums, workers are not able to take their children to professionals because they do not have the finances to pay for them because the bill is so expensive. Secondly, having affordable housing and childcare services would allow a worker to retain a job without the worry of the child welfare and well-being because he or she would be able to support that without it being too costly on them. Finally, the increase in minimum wage will help improve the economy. With everything from food to medicine increasing, it forces more poor families to rely on their salaries from their lower paying jobs. That's why I believe the increase in the minimum wage will have a profound effect on the reduction of poverty. Also, it would increase and encourage people to go get jobs because they would want to help support their families. As the New York Times reported, most economists agree that raising the minimum wage would increase the income of low income workers, which more than offsets any effects on jobs. It was also found that consumer spending drives more than 70% of the economy, and those at the lower end of the economy spectrum, out of necessity, spends a larger portion of their income than the wealthy does. Therefore, by raising the minimum wage, it would pump billions of dollars of consumer spending back into the economy. In conclusion, because the cost of living has risen, it would be wise to increase the minimum wage so that poor or low income families would be able to support and maintain their families' lives by decreasing the levels of poverty. References Huffington Post. The minimum wage should be raised. 2013. Web. 6th August 2015. Secondly, Penn State University. In-class roundtable outline minimum wage. 2014.web. 6th of August 2015. And thirdly, United States Department of Labor. Making work paid the case for the rising minimum wage. 1996.web. 06 August 2015. My first visual shows how the increase in the minimum wage helps the workers of different households. My second shows how the rise in the minimum wage helps lower the levels of poverty for a family of three. The third is a line graph with a bar graph that shows how the increase in minimum wage can have a great impact on the unemployment rate because more people would want to go out and get jobs to support their family.